Prologue. Fitz reflects on the deep emotional pain caused by the death of their bond animal, Night Eyes. The loss is compared to the severing of a physical limb, leaving Fitz feeling incomplete. Despite being surrounded by friends, family, and responsibilities, the narrator chooses isolation, unable to replace the unique bond shared with Night Eyes. In a conversation with the Fool, the narrator acknowledges their grief and the self-imposed loneliness, realizing that they have chosen solitude throughout their life. While recognizing this choice doesn't cure the loneliness, it marks the beginning of understanding its source and its potential to change. In Chapter 1, Fitz mourning Night Eye's death reflects on his strained relationship with his foster son Hap. He fears the Piebalds, who may have discovered his past and identity. After a tense encounter with them, he plans to alert the guards, protect Prince Dutiful, and arrange a meeting with Shade. Fitz is horrified to learn that his writings, which expose personal secrets, might have been discovered by the Piebalds. He plans to destroy them and erase all traces of his former identity. The Fool advises caution, urging Fitz to act carefully to avoid drawing attention. In Chapter 2, Tom Badgerlock, determined to protect Prince Dutiful from the Piebalds, reflects on his role in the prince's life and worries about his influence over him. He encounters Thick, Chade's servant, whose untrained skill poses a threat. Tom and Chade discuss the potential danger Thick represents, deciding whether to train or eliminate him. Meanwhile, Chade focuses on the political stakes of Dutiful's betrothal to Narcheska Eliania. Tom also expresses concern about Buckkeep's security and the need to retrieve dangerous documents from his cottage, which Chade agrees to help with later. In Chapter 3, Queen Ketrican flees to the Mountain Kingdom after King Shrewd's death and aids Verity in his quest against the Red Ships. Verity stays with the Elderlings, never returning to the Six Duchies. Meanwhile, Fitz, now Tom Badgerlock, manages court life and reflects on his past. Prince Dutiful expresses frustration over his arranged marriage to Narcheska Eliania, feeling disconnected from her. Lord Golden advises Dutiful on his cultural differences with the Out Islands. At Buckkeep, Lord Golden feigns an injury to secure Tom's presence at the betrothal ceremony, using the opportunity for covert interactions. In Chapter 4, Tom Badgerlock attends the betrothal ceremony of Prince Dutiful and Narcheska Eliania, observing tensions between the Six Duchies and Chalked. Archon Bloodblade's blood ritual adds to the unease, highlighting the strained relationship with Piotr Blackwater. Tom notes Dutiful's diplomatic handling of Eliania and the rising tension surrounding the Witted. During a dream, Tom interacts with a mysterious figure, who reveals her concern for him and his fading presence. He struggles with his skill walls, realizing his daughter might have broken through them, leaving him vulnerable. Tom reflects on the weight of his responsibilities and feelings for Lady Patience. In Chapter 5, Fitz meets Ketrican, who mourns Night Eye's loss and discusses the wit, suggesting it may be part of her mountain heritage. Fitz agrees to teach Dutiful about the wit, but keeps it secret. Ketrican offers Fitz a monthly allowance and a silver fox pin, symbolizing their kinship. She shares her complicated relationship with Lady Rosemary, revealing that she took her back into service despite past betrayals. Ketrican also expresses her struggles with political matters and her desire for justice for the Witted, while reflecting on the shared grief over Verity's loss. In Chapter 6, the Piebalds target Tom Badgerlock and Laurel due to their ties to the Old Blood. Laurel warns Badgerlock and advises him to seek the Queen's protection. Though tempted to flee, Badgerlock decides to remain. He visits Jinnah to apologize for neglecting Hap, then meets Hap, who expresses frustration with his apprenticeship. Badgerlock encourages patience. Later, he receives a message from Chade and embarks on a secret mission. Upon returning home, Badgerlock finds his cabin looted and vandalized. He destroys personal belongings and burns the remnants before leaving with the last of his possessions, including important scrolls. In Chapter 7, Tom Badgerlock, Fitz, begins teaching Prince Dutiful the skill, but Dutiful struggles with the lack of structure. Fitz is impressed by Dutiful's connection to the skill, but helps him focus amidst the chaos of his thoughts. When Dutiful becomes overwhelmed, Fitz saves him. Later, Dutiful questions Fitz about his relationship with Lord Golden, and Fitz reassures him they are just friends. Meanwhile, Chade shares information about the skill pillars and the risk they pose. Fitz also encounters Thick, who has been mistreated, and expresses his desire to protect him from harm, though Thick remains distrustful. In Chapter 8, Tom Badgerlock, Fitz, teaches Dutiful to master the skill, but fears his rapid progress, especially separating his wit from the skill. Meanwhile, Thick avoids skill lessons, and Chade suggests isolating him for his protection. Chade reveals his own frustration over not being allowed to learn the skill and his desperation to extend his life, citing the potential to repair his aging body. Fitz refuses to teach him, feeling inadequate. Fitz also struggles with his personal life, including his relationship with Hap, who is distracted by his romance with Svanya and his ongoing affair with Jinnah. In Chapter 9, Fitz continues his duties to Lord Golden while training Prince Dutiful. He hears rumors about the wit and remains cautious of the piebalds. Fitz grows concerned when Queen's huntswoman Laurel reports a threat after her horse's death but refuses help. Prince Dutiful shares a delicate situation with Lady Vance, prompting Fitz to offer advice. Fitz talks with Chade, who urges Nettle's training at Buckkeep to prevent danger. Fitz resists, fearing Birch's reaction and the potential for Nettle to learn of her true lineage. Eventually, Fitz agrees to train Thick, and Chade reluctantly accepts his decision. In Chapter 10, Fitz is frustrated by his role as Prince Dutiful's instructor and the manipulation involving his daughter, Nettle. He spies on Eliane and Peodra, who plot to win the prince's affection. The Narcheska subtly insults Dutiful. Fitz also faces tension with Svanya's father, Master Hartshorn, who confronts him about his daughter's relationship with Hap. At Jinnah's house, Fitz is met with rejection as she denies knowledge of Hap's whereabouts. Hartshorn rages at him, blaming him for his daughter's troubles. Jinnah warns Fitz that Hap's reckless behavior may be too late to fix. Fitz leaves, feeling isolated. In Chapter 11, Tom Badgerlock confronts his son Hap about his relationship with Svanya, but Hap insists on making his own choices. Tom reflects on his past mistakes, particularly with Molly and Hap. Tom attends a meeting with Bingtown's council, where a proposal for an alliance with the Six Duchies is discussed. Tensions rise when Selden Vestrit claims to speak for the last true dragon, Tintalia, challenging the Queen's knowledge. Meanwhile, Chade reports that the Narcheska and Peotra Blackwater are upset about the potential alliance, threatening to cancel the betrothal if dragons are involved. Tom and the Fool reflect on the political and personal implications. In Chapter 12, Tom Badgerlock, disguised as Lord Golden, confronts Jek, who reveals knowledge of Lord Golden and the Fool, raising suspicions. Tom grapples with betrayal as the Fool explains the deception was for safety. He also reflects on his troubled relationship with Hap, contemplating how to intervene, but unsure of how. Tom's encounter with Starling leads to a heated argument. Seeking solace, he visits Jinnah, where they discuss Hap's future and Tom's own challenges. Jinnah, though still angry, offers Tom a chance for reconciliation, but a sense of disappointment lingers. In Chapter 13, Tom reflects on his fractured relationship with Jinnah and Hap's struggles. Hap is advised to accept Gindas's offer of shelter. Chade urges Tom to reconcile with the Fool, but Tom resists. At a banquet, tensions rise when Narcheska Eliania challenges Prince Dutiful to prove his worth by slaying a dragon. Dutiful impulsively accepts, defying his mother's authority. The prince then challenges Eliania, demanding she prove herself worthy to be queen. The queen formalizes their agreement. Dutiful must slay Icefire with Eliania as a witness. Tom struggles with Dutiful's defiance and the emotional toll. In Chapter 14, Owen's family warns him about Icefire, a dragon that grants wishes. Dutiful embarks on his journey to the Out Islands, while Chade and Fitz discuss preparations. Fitz is frustrated with unresolved issues, including his strained relationship with the Fool and concerns over the piebalds. They examine skill scrolls revealing troubling connections, and Chade insists Fitz train Thick. The Queen commands Fitz to teach Nettle the skill, which troubles him. Fitz and Chade discuss a spy in Buckkeep, potentially linked to the Witted or piebalds. Fitz also attempts to connect with Thick, offering to teach him the skill. In Chapter 15, Fitz uncovers a threat while reading scrolls and confronts the Fool about their strained relationship, particularly regarding Jek. Their exchange leads to Fitz demanding the Fool's true identity, but the Fool admits to manipulating Fitz and expresses his love, which Fitz rejects. The Fool falls ill, and Fitz cares for him, realizing the damage of their confrontation. Meanwhile, Fitz speaks with Chade about the ongoing mystery and later meets with Queen Ketrican. She reveals the necessity of training Nettle in the skill due to her place in the Farseer bloodline, leading to a tense but resolving conversation. In Chapter 16, Tom's isolation intensifies as he struggles to connect with Dutiful through the skill, facing resistance. Tom helps Thick reach the skill tower, but Dutiful attacks him in anger. Burrich arrives with Swift, seeking asylum, blaming the wit for Fitz's death. Tom reflects on Burrich's pain, but remains silent about his own secrets. After a confrontation with Hap, who feels Tom has ruined his future, Tom contemplates the distance between them. He later uses the skill to comfort Nettle, sensing Burrich and Swift's safety. However, an unsettling foreign presence disrupts his thoughts, leaving Tom disturbed. In Chapter 17, Fitz receives a report about the Pale Lady and discusses it with Chade, who is recovering from an experiment gone wrong. They plan to keep Thick close to prevent him from reporting back to the enemy, and Fitz learns more about Thick's past. Chade and Fitz discuss the potential threat of Lodwine and the political implications of killing him. Chade reveals the Queen's new diplomacy with the Witted, and Fitz is tasked with gathering more information. The chapter ends with Fitz reflecting on his complicated relationship with the Fool and his suspicions about recent events. In Chapter 18, Tom Badgerlock delivers Prince Dutiful's gifts to Thick, who reveals disturbing memories of Lodwine, a one-armed man who has been seeking information about Lord Chade and Tom. Thick is terrified of Lodwine, who has threatened him and seeks blood vengeance. Tom tries to comfort Thick while grappling with the danger surrounding them, especially regarding Lodwine's possible motives. Tom contemplates how to prevent Thick from meeting Lodwine and decides to track him. After training with Wim, Tom feels reconnected to his old self. He leaves for Buckkeep Town, planning to visit Hap and pursue his own errands. In Chapter 19, Fitz encounters Starling, who confesses her fears about her marriage to Lord Fisher, suspecting infidelity. Fitz reassures her, revealing his lingering feelings for her. Starling admits her concerns about aging and her relationship. Fitz learns that Chade sent Starling to distract him from Lodwine. He continues searching for Lodwine in Buckkeep Town, buying supplies and discreetly asking about goat flesh. Fitz discovers Civil Brazinga's horse hidden near a cottage and overhears a tense confrontation between Civil and Lodwine. Civil defies Lodwine, leading to violence. Fitz intervenes, rescuing Civil and leaving Lodwine dead, while urging Civil to escape and warn Dutiful. In Chapter 20, Tom Badgerlock, gravely injured and imprisoned, suffers from intense pain and confusion. A fellow prisoner informs him that he killed 3 men and a horse, sparking rumors. Tom reaches out through the skill to Dutiful, who is working with Chade on a story to prevent his execution. As Tom endures his suffering, memories and dreams of snow-covered hills haunt him. Eventually, Lord Golden's representatives arrive to take him back to Buckkeep, where Chade, Dutiful, and the Fool attempt a desperate intervention to heal him, leading to an intense and painful healing process. In Chapter 21, Fitz continues his recovery from captivity, while Chade explains the situation with Seville and his role under Prince Dutiful. Chade also reveals his use of Thick's power to heal, though Fitz warns him about the risks of ambition. Fitz reflects on the changes in his appearance after healing, noticing his old scars have disappeared. He discovers Chade's skill scrolls, which detail techniques for using the skill to repair the body. They try to work together to heal Fitz, though their efforts are clumsy. As they continue, Chade becomes increasingly obsessed with mastering the skill, and Fitz expresses concern about the dangers. In Chapter 22, Fitz reflects on his recovery amid political tensions between Bingtown and Chalced. He finds mysterious feathers linked to the Fool's rooster crown, but struggles to understand them. Nettle confides in him about her family, and he worries about Swift's future. Hap visits, revealing the heartbreak from Svanya's betrayal, and expressing regret for not following the narrator's advice. As Hap leaves, their relationship heals. Fitz shows the feathers to Lord Golden, who reacts indifferently, leaving the narrator disillusioned. Meanwhile, the prince and Fitz discuss family secrets, the dangers of revealing the narrator's true identity, and political plots. In Chapter 23, Tom Badgerlock visits Hap, who is struggling with Svanya, and later speaks with Jinnah, who questions him about the men he killed. Tom denies using his wit to harm others, but is rejected by Jinnah, deepening his despair. He returns to Buckkeep, practices with Delary, and feels the weight of others' pity. During a tense encounter with Lord Golden, Tom learns that his fate is tied to the Pale Woman's plan. Lord Golden reveals the need to stop Dutiful from slaying Icefire, the Black Dragon, to restore dragons to the world, which conflicts with Dutiful's quest. In Chapter 24, Fitz seeks Chade's advice after the fool's troubling news about the Pale Woman and a prophecy. They discuss the Queen's Witted convocation, and Chade insists Fitz join the Queen's Guard and accompany Prince Dutiful to the Out Islands. Fitz struggles with his new duties, tensions with Chade, and concerns about Lord Golden and Civil Brazinga. While helping Dutiful practice the skill, Thick unexpectedly channels powerful music that affects everyone. Chade is overjoyed, but Fitz warns of the dangers of becoming lost in the skill. Fitz hears an unfamiliar voice, which unsettles him, but others dismiss it. In Chapter 25, Prince Dutiful is sent on a secret mission involving the Old Blood, but the Queen also uses him as a hostage to secure safe passage for emissaries. Tensions rise when they meet the Old Blood in the forest, leading to the Queen's insistence on a sacrifice. Back at Buckkeep, rumors of Dutiful's absence spread and Chade is alarmed. In a private council, the Queen defends her decision, emphasizing its importance for the negotiations. Meanwhile, a conversation in the guardroom with Webb reveals tensions about the past and the Witted, stirring more unrest. In Chapter 26, Webb presents proposals to end Witted persecution, suggesting integration into Queen Ketrican's household to dispel fear. Silvereye demands retribution for her family's deaths, but Ketrican rejects vengeance. Civil Brazinga arrives, revealing his past with the Piebalds and his decision to openly embrace his old blood magic in service to Prince Dutiful. His declaration shifts opinions, and tensions rise between supporters of justice and revenge. Civil later meets with the Queen's delegates, and significant progress is made toward legal reforms for old blood rights. The chapter ends with a sense of change and unity among the Witted and Buckkeep. In Chapter 27, preparations for Springfest intensify as Prince Dutiful's journey to the Out Islands approaches. Fitz is chosen to accompany him, along with Civil, Chade, and Thick. Swift, Birch's son, arrives at Buckkeep and is accepted as a page by Queen Ketrican, who renames him Swift-Witted. Fitz reflects on Burge's decision to send Swift away. As Fitz prepares for the voyage, he adjusts his clothing and secures supplies. He is also tasked with teaching Swift the axe, reading, and numbers, despite his reservations. Meanwhile, Fitz grapples with his concerns about Nettle's growing skill abilities.